breaking news is unfolding all around us. Let's look at a few clips before we start. Hi, I'm Anna, and Mark will bring you the latest news after the news clips. Let's jump right in.
Apartheid. Apartheid. You've had 30 years to cry about it while the country burns. Our South Africa is one of the wealthiest, most resource-rich nations in the world. We sit on gold, platinum, and diamonds. We should be the Switzerland of Africa, and yet, here we are, a bankrupt, crime-infested, socialist experiment gone horribly wrong. Sound familiar? Well, it should, because Argentina was in the same boat. A once great economy, obliterated by government incompetence, rampant corruption, and that irresistible siren song of socialism. Redistribute wealth, hand out freebies, punish the productive, and celebrate the lazy. And just like Argentina, South Africa has spent decades getting it all wrong.
Tonight we're talking about a very serious thing. We're talking about murders, people who are being slaughtered, people who are facing persecution. Let me start by giving you facts. In Australia, the murder rate is 2 out of 100,000 people. In South Africa, the murder rate per year is 34 out of 100,000. However, for the farmers in South Africa, the murder rate is 78 times the murder rate than we have in Australia. That is a shocking statistic. The white South African farmers are being persecuted and they are being murdered. But it's not just the way in that, it's just not just the fact that they are being murdered, but it's also the way in which they are brutally slaughtered. These people are suffering, they are tortured, they are just treated inhumanely to an extent that it is almost impossible to explain to people what happens. And all of this is swept under the carpet in South Africa. You don't hear it on the media, you don't hear these figures, you don't hear these stories. You only hear it from the people directly who are affected, their family members, their neighbors, who use things like Facebook and social media to share the horrible stories that have happened to them. Let me give you an idea of what happens to those people. They get slaughtered on their farms because they are there and their farms are wanted. They don't want the people on the farm. The people go in and they would do things like put boiling water down 2-year-olds' throats while they make their parents watch that. They would chop off the Achilles of the parents' feet so that they cannot run. They would kill the people, they would cut them, they would slash them and make them drown in their own blood while they're watching their children being raped. This is the stuff that's happening in South Africa, and this is what nobody is saying in the media. Nobody tells us about that. It is horrible, horrible, horrible.
So, Blair, keep your England and let me keep my Zimbabwe.
And he must keep his America, we will keep our South Africa.
So if the white farmers leave, we'll be fine in SA.
If the white farmers leave, then we are going to enter civil war. Because people are going to come into your house to get food. The hungry will eat the rich.
So I'm going to eat soul.
If you're hungry, you will eat soul. They look
You'll finish
yummy.
me, dog. You'll know where to start, boy. You'll finich me, man.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's the quickest way you can... And there's nothing else that can make this country like... it's hurting people here. But the quickest we can get to a very abnormal situation is for people not to have food. Okay? This is why our government is making efforts to have these 350 grants, and we don't like them as taxpayers, but let the people go hungry. Then you will see. And we are very close. Very close. Very close. The poverty in this country is real, and people don't have the skill to grow their own food.
In a world where truth is often distorted, one man dares to challenge the status quo. Meet Joel Polak, a South African-born American commentator who's been making waves with his bold insights on South Africa and the US. Joel Polak is a senior editor-at-large for Breitbart News. Born in South Africa, he brings a unique perspective to the conversation about US-South Africa relations. With a strong background in politics and journalism, Polak has written thousands of articles and authored 2 books on President Trump. So, what does Joel Polak think about South Africa's current state? In recent interviews, he's expressed concerns about the country's economic decline and the rise of anti-white racism. Polak argues that the ANC's policies have led to widespread poverty, unemployment, and violence, ultimately threatening the very fabric of South African society. But what about the relationship between the US and South Africa? Joel Polak believes that the two countries can benefit from a stronger alliance, particularly under President Trump's administration. Polak suggests that Trump's focus on transactional relationships could lead to increased trade and investment between the two nations, ultimately boosting South Africa's economy. As South Africa struggles with its economic crisis, many are asking, is the country bankrupt? Here are the questions. Is South Africa's economy on the brink of collapse? What are the key indicators of South Africa's financial health? How has the country's debt-to-GDP ratio evolved over time? Is this where the golden era, Nesra/Kasara, will step in? Is steering bankruptcy a reality for South Africa? What is steering bankruptcy, and how does it apply to South Africa? Can the country's leadership effectively navigate the economy away from bankruptcy? What are the potential consequences of steering bankruptcy for South Africa? Is this where the golden era, Nesra/Kasara, will step in? In an unprecedented move, the budget speech has been delayed to March 12th. Why was the budget speech moved? What are the implications of this delay for South Africa's economic stability? How will this delay impact the country's ability to address pressing economic issues? Is this where the golden era, Nesra/Kasara, will step in? Joel Polak's insights on South Africa and the US are both thought-provoking and timely. As the world grapples with complex geopolitical issues, it's essential to consider diverse perspectives like Polak's. And in a surprising turn of events, Joel Polak is being considered as a front-runner for the position of US ambassador to South Africa. If appointed, he would likely bring a unique perspective to the role, shaped by his South African heritage and expertise on Trump's presidency. Don't rely on the government to save the day. That's a losing strategy. As citizens, we are their employers, not the other way around. The government's delay in presenting the budget speech is unacceptable and demands immediate action from the nation. It's time for us to hold them accountable and demand transparency and efficiency in their decision-making processes. Be the voice to freedom. But here's the thing, we don't need to wait for a savior. We don't need to wait for Nesra/Kasara. We can take action now. We can expose the government's corruption. We can demand change. We can be the change we want to see. So, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and share this video with